Ms. Ross.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member Jayapal, and thank you to the witnesses for your testimony today. This hearing is extremely timely. The Trump administration's recent actions against our refugee community are making people less safe, not more safe. Recently, the administration sent emails to Ukrainians escaping Putin's war of aggression, telling them, do not attempt to remain in the United States. The federal government will find you. Then a day later, they said, sorry, we made a mistake. Cutting off resettlement funds for Afghans who made it to the United States after fighting side by side with American troops. That's in this administration's agenda. Turning their backs on courageous Afghans who worked directly with our forces and are desperate to reach our shores, but have to hide out from the Taliban because we're not accepting refugees anymore. Revoking all U.S. visas held by South Sudanese passport holders because their government refused to accept a deportee that the Sudanese government said was Congolese, not South Sudanese. And then this administration claims to care deeply about persecuted Christians while slashing Christian refugee entry by 78% in the first term and doing even less to help Christians who are persecuted enter the United States today. All of these heartless and short-sighted actions by the Trump administration serve no discernible purpose besides bullying those who escaped war, authoritarianism, and disaster. Again, this bullying undermines the stature of the United States in the eyes of the world and makes all of us less safe. It diverts our law enforcement resources away from real threats in order to upend the lives of honest, hardworking people in need of refuge from the United States. Now, with that said, I want to turn to the issue of how intentionally eroding trust of immigrant communities by local law enforcement can impact public safety. Major Franklin, just a couple questions for you. Can you speak to how efforts by this administration to destroy relationships between the immigrant community and local police officers would be detrimental to public safety?
Sure. It would be detrimental in a number of ways. Number one, I spoke earlier to being successful in identifying victims of crime, having crime reported, being successful during the investigation of those crimes so that we can hold those violent offenders accountable. But also it would be detrimental in the loss of critical resources that we desperately need among our law enforcement agencies around the country. And again, I want to speak to the uniqueness of every jurisdiction. We should have the ability to develop our own strategies that would work within those particular communities that have their own special needs. A loss of critical resources would devastate us in the law enforcement community in a number of ways. So I took an oath, not just to the Constitution, but to the people that I serve, to protect everyone who's in my community, no matter what their status is. And in order for me to do that, and my comrades to do that, you've got to have trust. You've got to build trust if you're going to get the information you need so that people aren't fearful in coming forward to report. They don't want to be victimized. They don't want their friends and family victimized. They want people held accountable, and they want to be able to come forward and trust us and not fear them or their friends being deported from the United States.
Thank you. Are you familiar with the U visa, a visa for victims of crimes who cooperate with law enforcement or governmental officials in the investigation or prosecution of criminal activities? And if so, do you think that they're helpful?
Yes, I am familiar with it, and they are helpful. Of course, the police officer has to take the initiative in filling out the paperwork when we're dealing with the victim to make sure that they're able to stay. in the community and in the country.
Thank you very much, and I yield back.
Mr. Van Drew.